Hey viewers and friends, Andrew back at you with another video, and this is a contest entry to a really good friend of mine on here, Cody, Jackrippzz. I'll be leaving his channel link in the description box below. If you're not subbed to him, definitely do so. Cody, as I said, a pretty good friend of mine on here, and he's holding his first contest. 100 subs, so a massive congratulations on that, certainly well deserved. And I'm sure your channel will grow pretty quickly in the near future because you certainly do some awesome videos, buddy, so keep them up. And I definitely wanted to enter to show you some support, giving away some great prizes. I still cannot believe that you're giving away that Street Trash standee display, mate. Yeah, that's a pretty awesome prize right there. But yeah, so he has a bunch of things that he wants us to do, and the first thing is give a shout out to an underrated or undersubscribed YouTuber. One person in particular comes to mind. It's Steve, or his channel name R&R Horror Hunter. Massively undersubscribed. This guy does some fantastic reviews. You know, he's comes across really well on camera, very well spoken, knows what he's talking about, and yeah, I'm just massively undersubscribed. So I'm going to be giving my shout out to Steve, R&R Horror Hunter. So Cody, I'm not even sure if you're subbed to him, but I'll be leaving him or his channel link in the description box below, sorry. So if you would like to subscribe to him, please do so. Alright, now you asked 5 questions from us, so I'll be answering all 5. I've decided to make a good effort with this video and answer all 5, so yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so question number 1 is, if some random newer horror fan came up to you and asked for recommendations of some low budget horror classics or some less well known underrated horror movies, which would you suggest? Well, I've actually got a few that I'm wanting to suggest, and obviously I highly recommend them. So the first one we have here is Terrorvision. This is a double feature with Video Dead, but for this particular question I'm only going to be talking about Terrorvision. Fantastic low budget creature feature, just absolutely fantastic. I think it ticks all the boxes for just a classic cheesy low budget 80s horror creature feature. You've got some really fun characters, some great gore effects, yeah, just sort of over the top silliness at times, and an awesome looking creature. So I definitely would recommend Terrorvision. The next one I'd definitely recommend is The Deadly Spawn, continuing with the creature feature theme. This one is fantastic, and again, like Terrorvision, the perfect example of a really good low budget cheesy 80s creature feature. The gore is outstanding. It is pretty gory. The creature, as you can see there on the cover, looks fantastic. They did a really good job with the creature effects in this film. Looks great. There's some really fun kills. There's some great characters. This one centers around a family, and the youngest family member, the son or the younger brother, is obsessed with horror and special effects, which just makes it even more cooler. You see some of his effects throughout the film, but yeah, The Deadly Spawn is fantastic. Then I wanted to mention a couple of Frank Henenlotter movies, because they're honestly 2 of the best low budget movies from the 80s that I think everyone needs to check out. So I would recommend Brain Damage. This one is fantastic. Definitely recommend it. About a parasite that grows on a guy's head. Really good. And the other one, which I prefer slightly more to Brain Damage, is Basket Case. This one is fantastic, and you could almost sort of classify it as a slasher or even a creature feature film. It sort of fits into both of those subgenres. But this one's fantastic, about a creature called Lyle who is in a basket. Basically a guy carries around Lyle in the basket, and Lyle goes about killing people. Lyle looks cool, super cheesy looking, but this one is really good. So that's Basket Case. So therefore, I know you only asked for one film, but I thought I'd mention 4 that definitely come to mind that I would highly recommend. Alright, moving on to question number 2. Alright, so question number 2 is, if you could make a slasher movie and you had complete control over it, who would your villain be? How would they look? How would they act? And how would they carry out the carnage? Pretty awesome question. I actually thought of a new awesome sort of slasher idea a few weeks ago, and it's never really been done before, and I think it'd be awesome. Well, the theme of the movie, it would be set on Halloween, and instead of an adult killer, it would be a little boy or a child killer. Basically, he would be going around trick-or-treating, and he would kill his victims, like as they'd answer the door. Might even kill other trick-or-treaters, just go on a complete killing rampage during Halloween night. As for an overall look, I absolutely love the outfit from Trick or Treat that Sam wears, the pumpkin outfit. So it'd be something similar to that. Definitely have a pumpkin mask on. His weapon of choice would be, I'd say, a knife. Keep things simple, but then he could pick up other weapons as well during the night or whatever, or have some other weapons stored in his bag. How would they act? Well, I would have him sort of act innocent, like any other normal kid trick-or-treating, just having a fun time, but then suddenly turn, get pretty violent, and start killing. And then how would they carry out the carnage? Well, towards the beginning I would have him sort of discreet, so maybe just like in a crowd, like slash someone's throat, so there's a lot of other people around so they don't really notice. He would kill a couple of people that answered the door when they gave him candy, and then towards the end of the movie, or as the movie went on, he'd just like go on a complete killing rampage and go absolutely nuts. So hopefully that's what you wanted from question number 2. So now on to question number 3. Alright, so question number 3 is, name a director who is well known for one really popular film, but the movie you like isn't talked about as much, or fairly underrated. Well, that question was really easy for me, and I'm going to go with Peter Jackson. And the movie that I don't think gets talked about enough, or enough recognition, is Bad Taste. Now, everyone knows Peter Jackson, the New Zealand director, very famous for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's even got it there. Now, I'm not really a Lord of the Rings fan. I've seen the first movie, I've seen half of the second, and I've never seen the third one. And honestly, I would not give a shit if I never saw those movies again. Personally, I think Peter Jackson's best movies have been his earlier work, and Bad Taste, his first feature film, in my opinion, has always been his best movie, or at least my favourite. I would absolutely love him to go back and do something similar like this again. I think he could easily do it. But yeah, this is definitely probably his most underrated movie, the one that sort of gets talked about the least, especially in terms of his horror stuff. And it's a shame really, because I think Like, don't get me wrong, Peter Jackson's fantastic, and what he did with Lord of the Rings, I mean, he did a bloody fantastic job on that. What he did for tourism in New Zealand, all that stuff. But honestly, I think the Lord of the Rings trilogy is overrated. The trilogy made him overrated for the wrong reasons, in my opinion. And, you know, there's a lot more to Peter Jackson than the Lord of the Rings films. So Bad Taste is the movie that I definitely wanted to mention for question number 3. Alright, moving on to question number 4. So question number 4 is, name one franchise and or movie that you wish never saw the light of day and why. Now, I kind of wasn't too sure whether you wanted a complete franchise or just a movie from a franchise, so I've decided to play it safe and go with a franchise for this one. I was thinking about a couple of the Halloween movies, and then I thought, oh, that's sort of an obvious choice. I've mentioned them a million times before. But I'm going to go with both a movie and a franchise, and we're going to be talking about Prom Night for question number 4. This is one of my least favourite slashers from the 80s. I absolutely hate this movie. It should never have been made, and I really don't care too much for the franchise in general. So if we're talking about one franchise, Prom Night, wish it had never been made. This movie in particular, the original one, it's completely pointless. It's bland, it's boring, nothing really happens, and yeah, I don't know, it could have been so much better, but unfortunately it wasn't. So Prom Night is my answer to question number 4. Alright, the 5th and final question. Alright, question 5. The final question is, what is one movie that you love a lot and you wish you could watch it for the first time every time you watched it? This one took a little bit of thought, and I was trying to think of a movie that I really love that I haven't mentioned a lot. You know, I could have easily gone with the obvious stuff like Halloween, but I wanted something a little bit different that kind of has a twist within the film that I wish I could experience for the first time every time I see it. And I've decided to go for a slasher film from the 80s, Killer Party. Now, the reason that I picked this one out of anything else, and I'm not really going to spoil anything because it's quite likely a few of you haven't seen this one before, but basically it starts off as a traditional college or sorority row slasher film, but the second half of the movie, or towards the end of the film, there's a pretty big twist, and it completely changes sort of the theme, and the ending just completely kicks ass and took me by surprise. I was not expecting it. So I would absolutely love to have that awesome new experience every time I saw Killer Party, because it does have a pretty dramatic and awesome twist in the second half of the movie, which sort of comes out of left field. Wasn't expecting it. So yeah, my pick for question 5 is Killer Party. Cody, if you haven't seen this one, I definitely recommend it, by the way. Alright, so that has been my contest entry for you, Cody. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks once again, mate, for holding the contest. You're giving away some fantastic prizes, and I hope you've enjoyed this contest entry, and thank you for watching.